Hi, I am Don.
And I'm Luke.
Yeah, we tried to get Bo. He's unavailable.
He's quarantined right now.
He's quarantined. Very.
This week we're going to talk to you about Castlevania. But
Oh, yeah.
First, this episode's sponsored by Ashley Luann Kay.
Okay.
If you guys are looking into higher education or are interested in the insights about nursing, check out Ashley Luann Kay's YouTube channel. We'll leave a link below down in the comments, or you can check it out on rallynetwork.net.
I really appreciate that. 'Cause you don't have to put that link there. That's just an extra service.
Yeah, we're just doing what we can to make it convenient.
And honestly, you're not doing anything better right now. I know I'm not. I am reading The Stand because I have absolutely no sense of self-preservation for suicidal ideations and all that. But yeah, mental health, it's important to keep it.
Which brings us to the Castlevania animated series.
Yeah, I mean, not suicidal ideations, but you don't have anything better to do.
No, but Dracula, he's got some of those.
He does. I forgot about that.
And for good reason.
Yeah. I played the games back in the 90s. Well, not all of them. I played one for NES, and I never really realized how many there were. I just kind of dabbled in them
Mm-hmm.
in that magical pre-9/11 world.
I never did get around to playing those.
I can say with some authority, having gone back and relooked at them, that the story of Castlevania is very heavily adapted, inspired by Castlevania.
Okay. They gave you the Easter eggs of the items that show up in the game.
Honestly, it really seems like Japan looking at 50s, 40s classic monsters and just putting them in the game. There's Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster is in the Castlevania series.
I didn't know that.
Like, there's werewolves, there's bats, there's just anything you can think of. Mummies. I don't know why there's Egyptian mummies in Wallachia.
There was that Egyptian vampire that showed up.
No, that's true. I did. Yeah, there were a lot of a big multicultural band of vampires. Apparently, he can even get messages reliably to isolationist Japan.
Yeah. And they can get there before a year's gone by.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, Tokugawas are usually a lot better at clamping down at Christian influence, but whatever. Like, more power to them.
They make exceptions for vampires.
Yeah, okay. They have priority mail. And yeah, so there's 3 seasons right now on Netflix,
right,
of this adapted, inspired story-line. Yeah.
The first one's more of like a teaser season.
Yeah, it really
it's only 4
is.
episodes.
I don't remember it being very long. I was confused at there being 2 seasons. Like, wow, when did that happen?
Like, the first 2 seasons really could be combined in one.
And it doesn't help that usually when I'm watching this, I'm also doing work. So I'm like just half paying attention.
Right.
But I do know, like, it starts out relatively as you'd expect. Well, not really as you'd expect, because there's a woman walking past the Appian way of crucifixions.
Yes.
To talk to the head crucifier.
Just impaled skeletons all the way.
Yeah, I forgot the impale. It's not crucifixions. It's impalement. It's the up the nether
his
regions.
MO,
yeah,
the
he's got to keep. Yeah, he's got a brand. Man's got a brand. And apparently, it's just kind of common knowledge that there is an immortal dude who's really good at algebra.
Yeah, he knows a lot of stuff.
He knows a lot about stuff from the distant past, which includes batteries for some reason. Like, there's like electricity.
Yeah, there is electricity, yeah.
Like, so I'm assuming that this is like a reference to like the Persian batteries or something like that. Like, hey, there's these sealed containers that with ingredients that could theoretically conduct electricity, which is a bit like saying, the Romans, they had steam engines. Well, they don't. Yeah, they knew steam could be used to move stuff,
right,
but they didn't have the metallurgy to actually make engines. So don't read. It's interesting. The ancient people were really smart, but they didn't have fluorescent lighting and all that.
They do try to say like several times that like they've known this stuff like 3 different times and forgot it again.
Yeah, it's like...
But Dracula's lived through it all, so he knows everything.
The implication is that the pre-Diluvian societies were hyper-advanced.
Yeah.
Like, the biblical flood actually, like, wiped out a modern anime Tokyo.
Yeah, like they had jet planes and stuff.
And Dracula came back. Like, Xenogears is what's going on here. We'll go back to Xenogears at some point. But yeah, apparently Dracula is just kind of put upon, like, I could drain this woman of blood.
She was like, she's got real balls.
Yeah, she does.
Coming in here knowing that I basically killed everybody.
Yeah,
Let
she
me look
just
outside.
kind of like she invited herself into my parlor, and
he's being super creepy, just like teleporting around.
yeah, like I'm doing everything I know to scare this woman off, and she's not leaving. I mean, honestly, that's actually kind of an interesting thing because, traditionally vampires, their biggest weakness is you can only come in if invited.
Right.
This woman just kind of like walks in.
Yeah.
Like she does the salesman thing. She puts her foot in the door and demands you come out of here with a Maytag. But yeah, she wants to learn all this ancient history.
Yeah, she wants to be a doctor.
Yeah, she wants to be a doctor.
Save people
Yeah.
in her town.
She wants to, okay, I've got this thing about, like, there's this theory going around germs and not demons.
No.
Okay, yes, there are in fact germs. Can you teach me germ theory?
He actually makes fun of her about, like, so you want to learn how to spread chicken blood around. And
Yeah. Like he's actually being a condescending prick about it instead of actually, and then she actually calls him out, dude, you could be helping this whole time. But yeah, admittedly, that's not his brand, though.
No.
Like he's kind of like, he's gotten caught up in that pride about being the villain of every story. And she like worms her way into his heart, and apparently succeeds above and beyond.
Oh yeah,
and becomes a very celebrated doctor. In fact, she becomes so successful at being a doctor that I guess like the Guild of Death Carts has begun to pick up on the fact that they're not getting as much business. And they have filed a formal complaint to the Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Because Catholic Church is, at this point, I think it's like the 1500s.
1475.
Okay, so there's no Protestants. The heresies have not begun.
I guess it should be like when they first met, it was like 1450.
Okay.
And then 20 years go by and they get married and all that.
Yeah, so we haven't had like the Pope decide that we need to build a bigger, awesome church in Rome and start taking out like indulgences. So it's like the big, like when you get right down to it, the Protestant heresy began because of a contracting job that went out of control.
Yeah.
But something worse happened because apparently the local church authorities here, okay, there is a very successful woman doctor, so she's a witch.
Oh,
obviously.
yeah.
Obviously. I mean,
she can do things we don't understand. That
yeah,
must be magic.
She's cutting into our stuff. I don't know. She's undermining people's authority.
Our job
in the church
to pray for people's health. She's just giving it away for free.
Yeah, I mean, we're yeah, you'd think we'd have a little bit more stronger foundation, like the rock upon our church or whatever. Yeah, you'd think we'd have a little. No, this is very threatening to us. So we attack this. So they go in and of course arrest this woman, smash all of her like vials or her alchemy set,
burn the whole thing to the ground.
Yeah, and then they burn her at the stake and say, "Forgive them, Dracula. They know not what they do."
I mean, her whole thing was she was trying to make Dracula a good guy.
Yeah, and she succeeded. She convinced him to get out of his house.
She sent him out into the world even to go travel amongst the humans and learn about him.
And apparently that was very good for him.
Yeah,
like he actually kind of mellowed out.
Yeah, except it was bad for her.
It was bad timing.
Yeah,
like he should have like left like a little like one of those little necklaces, life link.
That would have been a good idea.
Yeah, apparently he probably invented that at some point. But yeah, so now ironically, the person who informs Dracula of his wife's fate is the person who rats her out.
Was it that person?
It was that old woman, wasn't it?
I didn't realize it was the same old woman.
I'm pretty sure it was the same old woman, and she is actually spared.
Yeah.
Dracula's wrath, although Dracula does admittedly show up and like, okay, I'm going to destroy everyone in this country in a year.
Yeah, he was super chill about it, actually.
Like, okay, you guys messed up.
He could have just wiped everybody out right then.
Yeah. And, but then the church was like, we could probably take this guy.
Yeah.
Well, not the church.
That was actually super cool how he like teleports in a flame and then shows up at the pyre as a huge flaming face.
Yeah. I mean, that's impressive. Then again, vampires can do just about anything they want in this universe.
It's true.
I've actually been reading some of the Twilight books in an online read along, and most of the commentary you can really come up with that is why are we focusing on the love story with the lamest vampire in the entire book and the world's most horrifically boring and yet sadistic woman? when every other vampire is either cool or incredibly awesome. Like they just like use their immortality for fun things, and then you're just being mopey McMope creep. But oh well. Anyway, yeah. So vampires, like Dracula, is all powerful. Church, well, not the church, but just like the one guy.
Yeah,
who's
the
like
one bishop.
I could probably I can get away with this. I'm like I'll just hide in my church. If he comes, I'll hide in church and I'll be fine. I'll just munch on communion wafers and drink wine, I guess, and never leave.
He really had the genius idea of he wasn't the archbishop. The archbishop was in charge there, so he got reassigned to a different village.
Yeah,
Maybe he'll just forget about over here.
yeah.
Dracula didn't, but
that is pretty funny. Not my problem. So we also are introduced at some point to the Belmont.
yeah,
And of course, there's a different Belmont in just about any game. Usually, it's either like a generational thing, or they just throw another Belmont at you
okay.
when you need a protagonist. What was the first name of the one we're actually working with in the series?
This one's Trevor.
Trevor. Okay.
He's the last of the Belmonts because they've been
Yeah.
wiped out by the church.
He was apparently orphaned. Yeah, the church also went after the vampire hunters,
right.
or the generalized monster hunters, because there's a lot of monsters in this universe. Unfortunately, they're not like the 50s versions of themselves. So he's not like going after like a stiff guy in a costume mummy. He's like, these are actually terrifying night creatures with a lot of different forms. So basically, the church in this is just trying to wipe out any possible competitor.
Yes. Anybody who has power, they're trying to get rid of.
Yeah, except for apparently the nobility. But we don't really see that many kings.
Yeah, they don't really talk about the nobility much at all.
Yeah, when you think whoever's in charge of Wallachia at this time, so like the Habsburgs, where are they?
Yeah.
Come on, Habsburgs, use your chin powers. Anyway,
so the first time you see Trevor, he's at some no-name town.
Yeah, he's just trying to get his drink on.
And that's how you find out the Belmonts have all been wiped out, because the random guys in the bar who are talking about goat fucking start talking about hating the Belmonts and how they've been wiped out, and all the other nobility they hate.
It's a bit like going after. It's like you're in 1986, or no, it's or you're in present time and you're talking about the Soviet Union as if it's still like a relevant thing. God, those goddamn Soviets! If it wasn't for them, none of this would be happening. Right? This is all their fault, really. And then there's this you find like just the last Belmont just happens to be drinking at that bar.
Yes.
And he doesn't pick a fight. He's just like, oh, they're gonna recognize this little thing I always wear with me.
But he wants to drink.
He just wants to drink.
So he's not going to leave. He's going to go get his drink.
Yeah.
Obviously, to see the crest.
Yeah. Unfortunately, none of the games actually begin this way. Just like it just plops you on, and you're immediately beset by monsters. It would be funnier if you just get your tutorial were beating the shit out of a bunch of random dudes.
It would be.
But yeah. So of course, the bar fight is what happens.
Yeah.
And
he gets kicked in the nuts several times, but prevails.
Several times. But yeah, that's his power. Endurance, perseverance, whatever.
Then he just heads off to Grestic, and that's where all the action happens in the first season.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So because Dracula is making good on his threats, he is in fact coming to destroy all of this generalized geopolitical. Like, I don't know exactly where his crusade eventually expands to all of mankind.
Yeah,
but
he
first,
really just warps around Wallachia, though. That's all he's.
Yeah, that's like it's a. Honestly, Eastern Europe does not get much love.
No,
like it's either like in fact, we were talking about GoldenEye last time, and a lot of Ian Fleming's novels are very racist against Bulgarians, to the point where after Ian Fleming died, one of the first Bond books was written by a Bulgarian, in which a Bulgarian communist spy defeats the vile 007. And he gets away with it because Ian Fleming's estate is in flux and there were no rights to the James Bond character.
No way.
So there is a canon book in which James Bond is defeated in an awesome battle in Antarctica by the brave Bulgarian spy. Off track, but anyway, we don't get too many Bulgarian, Eastern European, stories. Usually it's like some kind of monster story like
Yeah.
this. But anyway, yeah. Well, Dracula has kind of got like that tunnel vision. Like, I'm going to take out all of humanity, which as far as I know, exists specifically around the Danube.
Right. And
And
he really doesn't have a plan for doing it. He just
No, he's-
sends like strike teams of night beasts like random places.
yeah, and we later find out where these things are coming from.
Right.
But apparently, they're just like an established thing. Like the werewolves are just a form of night beast.
Mm-hmm.
As are the bug people, as are the gargoyles.
Right.
They're just all kind of a thing.
And it seemed like long ago they used to be just like species that
Yeah.
reproduced and were just part of the earth.
Yeah, they were as we saw them. Like the werewolf would actually be some random guy or something like that. In one of the games, one of the games I played when I was younger, there was a werewolf boss I could not get past, and it was a woman. And she's like, you meet her in a clock tower, and you think she's going to give you like exposition or dialogue. Instead, she turns into a werewolf and she grabs the hour hand of a clock, and she starts beating you with it. And I could never get past her. She had time on her side.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, didn't see that. I was really hoping we would see like a homage to that at some point. We might still. I don't know.
There could be.
But yeah,
Because the third season's obviously not the last season.
yeah. So Dracula's having fun. Like, there's a lot of people dying in Wallachia, but this
Right.
town so far has escaped, I think.
Yeah, they've gone to other smaller towns, but Grestic's like the last big town they haven't hit yet.
Yeah, and so that priest, his plan's actually kind of working.
They kind of, I guess they have hit it, but it's been like skirmishes. There's like
Yeah.
on the walls, there's dead people that were strung up by night beasts, but they haven't been overrun yet.
Yeah. So that, like, as far as that priest is concerned, like, yeah, it's working fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm last man standing in Wallachia, which honestly, shouldn't this be the Orthodox Church? Wallachia.
I have no idea when that.
It's happened for a while, because when the Ottomans overthrew Constantinople, there was a very brief union of the Orthodox and Catholic churches as a desperation move. The thing is, the Emperor Constantine XI immediately died after uniting the churches, and the people who took over after that, like, well, no, he wasn't thinking clearly.
No way.
He wasn't thinking clearly, and he's dead. So Orthodox is totally still the right and true thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure exactly how much of a Catholic presence Wallachia had at this time.
I don't either.
Maybe Austria-Hungary was, I don't know.
They make it seem like it's the
I'd have to,
Catholic Church.
they really make it seem as a generalized Catholic church. But then again, anytime there is a intolerant Catholic institution, it's always the Catholics.
Yeah.
Even when it's obviously the Lutherans who are at fault, or the Orthodox, or anyone else. Just come on, give
Yeah.
us a break, guys.
But they're blaming all the night beasts on the speakers that came to town.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Roma,
Yeah. The other
the travelers.
exactly. It's obviously their fault. They brought it with them.
Yeah, they're very pale-faced travelers, but you know, they're obviously modeled on that. They have the wagons.
Mm-hmm.
British people are going to blame them for everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So, of course, like all minorities traipsing around the countryside, their magic is 100% real.
Yep. Nobody can copy it because it's all in their head. They don't write it down.
Yeah. Like, so we have this like little patronizing expression, like, you guys will never, you guys don't need like any other quirks. You have magic. That's your deal. That's just who you are. And they have a quest for Trevor. He like one of their I can't remember exactly what they say. Granddaughter. Okay,
is missing.
Yeah, so it's pretty much assumed she's dead 'cause she went underground
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's been several days. She's probably dead.
Yeah, she's probably she probably died of thirst if nothing else.
They find out eventually that she went to look for this mythical guardian who's supposed to be sleeping underneath the town.
That would be handy at this time.
Yeah, it's a great time to find one of those.
Yeah, and Trevor is like saying, you guys really need to leave because there's a pogrom coming.
Yes.
Because okay, we're besieged by night beasts. We can't fight the night beasts. It's like this. it's like this general existential problem with society that we can't address specifically, but we can blame it all on these people.
Right.
So he's like saying, you guys need to leave. We're not leaving until you bring her or her remains back to us.
They really made a deal of like, we want to stay and help these people.
Yeah.
But we're definitely not leaving without the
They're
person.
they're totally bros in that regard, but yeah. And of course, when he goes down there, there's those lights. Like there's technology down there. It's cool. It's good world building, I guess. It just kind of builds on that. And he does find a statue that looks suspiciously like a woman of this group.
Right. She looks like a speaker.
Yeah. And
a Cyclops
shows up, and he's got the Medusa eye.
Yep.
Which there are Medusa heads in Castlevania. There's no reason for them to be there. They just float around. But yeah. So there's that big fight with that thing.
Yeah, that was a sweet fight.
Big, very well animated. And as soon as it's dead, Sypha wakes up from her stone hibernation. She comes out of the carbonate. And do they immediately proceed to go find the Guardian?
No, they decide it's a good idea to get the heck out of there.
That's good thinking.
They go meet up with the rest of the speakers.
Yeah.
And then, like, right after they're up there, Trevor, like, leaves, and he gets taken by the church to go talk to the bishop.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that little heart-to-heart, that little tete-a-tete.
And he takes a guy's eye out beforehand, because I guess he did that when he saved the old man. But anyway, the bishop tells him, I'm not really going to do anything to you.
Yeah. In fact, that whole excommunication thing,
we can probably get that taken care of.
We could totally hash that out, man.
But we could use some help with these night beasts.
Yeah, the night beasts, and
by the way, we're going to kill all those speakers.
I want you to.
It's their fault.
Yeah, all you have to do is nothing.
Yeah,
that's really. I mean, honestly, he would not be the first person to take that kind of deal.
No.
Like, look, you know, it's like 1932, and like you got the burgers in Northeim, Germany, and they're like, I know you have Jewish friends, but you really hate the socialists, don't you? Well.
Yeah, I kind of do.
I mean, maybe if you... okay, we're going to do something to the Jews, but if you do nothing, the socialists will all be dead too. But Trevor doesn't play like that. No.
He's a good guy.
He's a very good guy. So he, turns... He, get thee behind me, Satan,
Yep.
in the priest's robes. And he wanders off to be a hero.
And so he convinces he can't actually convince them to leave.
Yeah.
But he does convince them to hide.
Yeah.
And he kind of sets a trap where they were all staying.
Yeah, that was so good. That was so good.
Yeah.
The lynch mob comes,
Yep.
and they're just not there.
He ends up collapsing the house on the soldiers that came in to try to kill them all, and then leads the whole mob on a chase around the town with the Benihana or the Benny Hill music.
Benny Hill music. Yeah, you got to have a little fun with these. With when someone tries to pogrom, maybe you have to go full Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Just to really drive the point home like a stake. That we're we don't take you seriously. Unfortunately,
the whole town's chasing him. So eventually they catch up to him in the big center of town.
Yeah.
And then Sypha kind of saves him, walls him off in fire, and the Night Beasts really make a great timing there. Because they attack immediately.
That is just good dramatic timing. It's like somebody wrote it,
but not before Trevor turns the entire crowd against the church.
That's true. I forgot he actually manages to speak reason to them.
Yeah. He singles out the one priest guy who's a big jerk, instigating the whole thing. But
do you guys even really like this guy?
Yeah.
What does this guy have going for him other than he gets results at pogroms?
Yeah, he won't even fight me one-on-one. Do you guys trust that guy? I don't think so.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm really surprised that more people weren't just brought over to his side by the sheer fact that this woman, the seer, can legitimately create walls of fire.
Yes.
I mean, when the Japanese heard the Nazi propaganda about the Jews, they actually believed it.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys control everything. We need them on our side. So let's see if we can get them to immigrate to our control, to Manchuria, and then we'll have all of their power. Yeah. Like, you'd think more people would go for that kind of gambit in these situations, but
It seems
no.
like a good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, the Night Beasts show up, and
Trevor just turns into a general. He's like directing all of the mob that have pitchforks.
yeah.
You guys line up. We're going to make a spear line.
Yeah, here's what some of your weapons aren't going to be effective at killing, but you can at least slow them down.
Yeah, grab some salt. That works.
Yeah.
Priest, go bless some water. The priests
Yeah.
are on his side now.
Yeah. Except for the aspiring archbishop who is in his church.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's safe.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of, like a monster just kind of walks in. And it's one of the few monsters that actually talks. Like he says, like he's like yelling at it, like, hey, you can't be in here. Rules say you can't be in here because you're a demon and I'm a man of God and this is a house of God. And a demon just says, your foul deeds have corrupted this place.
Yep. Oh, by the way, thanks for causing us to be something.
Yeah, actually, honestly, if you hadn't done what you did, we would still be in hell.
Yep.
So, props, man. We really owe you one. We owe you better than what we're going to give you, basically. Because, this guy is specifically on Dracula's hit list.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he dies pretty ignominiously, very poetically. Meanwhile, the village is... I love these little situations where a village actually manages to unite and hold off the legions of hell through sheer common sense
Yep.
and planning and a healthy helping of magic from a mystical
those
woman.
walls were handy.
The firewalls,
The ice walls as well.
ice walls. I do love her use of magic and how it evolves. Like, she doesn't just use the same
she gets
tricks.
better as they go on, it seems like.
Yeah. And the attack is repulsed.
Yeah. But the floor caves in.
Yeah.
The entire square that they were standing just collapses.
I mean, we animated the hell out of that dungeon. Do you really think you're just not going to see the rest of it?
Yeah.
And is that where they just... Is there anything that happens between them and finding that coffin?
They're like swinging back and forth from huge gears
Uh,
and like falling repeatedly.
Yeah, huge gears.
It's just like an obstacle course of survival on the way down.
Yeah, it's like... I don't know why they're... I'm sure those gears had a purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
They were doing something.
mechanical, magical stuff.
Yeah.
You know, science.
Anyway, yeah, then they find a tomb.
Yeah, they see the coffin.
Let's open that.
Yeah, let's step towards that.
We can loot it, I guess. Or yeah, after what we've just seen, after everything we know about vampire lore, we're gonna open this coffin.
Well, Trevor like triggers some trap on the floor, and I think that like springs him to life out of there.
Okay. Now I've got this. Okay, now I've got this image of Alucard as a Jack in the Box.
Kind of was.
But yeah, that's when we meet Alucard. I wonder who he is.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's no clues in this.
Trevor
name.
has no idea, but he knows he's a vampire.
Yeah, Alucard is actually it's one of the classic monster movies. It's actually one of the bad sequels.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Son of Dracula,
Yep.
and there's like a scene where like there's a cargo crate, and some Victorian era genius looks at this looks at Alucard, and he looks up in a mirror, Dracula.
Because
But
if
yeah.
you haven't realized, Alucard is Dracula spelled backwards.
Yeah. Also his son. This is not actually the first time we have seen Alucard as Dracula's son in brilliant anime, though. There is a very interesting anime, I think from the late 80s, in which basically the same thing happens. Dracula takes a mortal wife and has a baby that is half vampire with blonde hair that is destined to kill his dad.
No, it's the same character.
It really is. Of course, in that anime, Dracula accidentally crashes a Satanist party where they're about to sacrifice the woman, his future wife, to Satan to be his wife. He shows up, and since he has cool magical powers and obvious evil aura, they assume he's Satan. So he takes the woman and leaves, and then Satan shows up.
What?
And he's like, dude, where's my wife? You just took her. That wasn't me, you idiots. That was Dracula. So Dracula cucks Satan. And then later in the anime, he eats a hamburger. I don't remember much else about
Just
it.
because.
But he has magical adventures and eats a hamburger. Okay, but yeah, there's much funnier things, much better things happen in this Castlevania. But yeah. So what was the first meeting of the minds with Alucard? Because I love the dynamic with him and Trevor.
Yeah, basically, they're kind of testing each other out. Trevor's kind of thinks he's Dracula.
Yeah.
So he's really trying to kill him. And Alucard's kind of being like, you're not going to kill me.
Yeah.
I'm almost as powerful as Dracula. There's no way. And he's kind of playing around with him. You know?
Yeah.
He makes it look like a good fight, but he could kill him whenever he felt like
Mhm.
it. And it seems like he is about to kill him. But then Sypha, who's been on the sidelines while they're fighting.
Yeah, like she's a smart girl. Like, okay, these guys are just, you're not going to be able to talk them
She
down.
realizes he's the hidden warrior underneath the town that's going to save
Yeah,
him.
remember that guardian we were down here looking
Yeah.
for? Yeah, that might be him.
And so she stops the fight at the end, threatening to blow Alucard's face off with fire.
That'd stop me.
Yeah.
I'd stop.
And so then they all realize they're all trying to kill Dracula. He's the real problem here.
Yeah,
And they team up, you know?
I mean, it's not a perfect alliance, but you got to be willing to make compromises within these coalitions. So
Yeah, and they did fit the rest of the prophecy where there's supposed to be a magician and a hunter that found the warrior.
yeah, you got the Holy Trinity. the half vampire, the warrior, and the cool magician girl.
Yes.
I don't know if that actually was supposed to be symbolism, but
It might have been. I don't know.
there is one of the games, I think, for the NES, actually, in which the three available characters to play are Sypha, Alucard, and Trevor with
Okay.
different play styles. But yeah, those are the characters. These are your protagonists, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like them. You should. They're pretty cool. But yeah, so they need to kill Dracula.
And they know they don't have the tools to do it.
Yeah, it's not just Dracula. He seems to have summoned every vampire on Earth.
And even if they don't know that, they know he has his own personal army of vampires.
Yeah. And all the night beasts as well,
Right.
which are coming from somewhere, which is revealed in really interesting. I think more or less in season 2 is just introducing you to his human companions.
Yes, that's mostly.
I don't know if they're actually based on anything in the games, but they are kind of interesting in that, like, okay, these are humans, and there are vampires who are chafing at the fact that bog standard mortal humans are part of this, are leading this crusade
Not only a part of it, but are in charge.
to wipe out humanity. And I can't remember their names. Is it Isaac and Hector?
Yes.
Yeah. But one of them is Muslim. I think
Isaac.
he is. I think he's Sufi. It's Islamic mysticism.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one. He's the one that uses the scourge for self.
Yeah, so he's kind of like got the Catholic thing going on
Yeah.
on himself too, and he is basically a slave who wanted to be the best slave he could, but it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, he tried to read his master's books to get more knowledge so he could help better.
Yeah.
And his master was like, no, you do what I tell you. You don't read stuff.
Yeah, rising above the station. So, and I can't remember exactly how he wound up getting his ability to stab someone and possess them with a demon.
It doesn't actually say. It just shows him like rebelling against his master, and then you assume he like reads some knowledge, and then
Yeah.
Dracula comes across him when he's walking the earth.
And he just has that really cool life story that Dracula just really sympathizes with.
Yeah.
It's like, and then Hector, he's got like, he was just really good at it from always, it seems.
Since he was a kid, he brought back that little
The dog.
Dog.
And the dog seemed chill. Like,
Yeah.
the dog wasn't like a
It was
demon
pretty
monster.
awesome dog.
It was just a really cool dog with its intestines hanging out. And his parents were not cool with
No.
that. And Hector kind of has that insufferable. He knows full well that Dracula intends to kill all of humanity. He chooses not to hear that, though.
Yeah.
In his mind,
Dracula kind of gives him some leeway. He says, we'll just take care of the problem.
When you say you're going to destroy all entitlements, you're going to leave Medicare, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah, okay. Medicare's going to be fine. Yeah, you're going to leave a stable breeding population and control them, because he likes pets. He likes pets.
Yeah.
So he thinks
He's just going to turn humanity into a
a
bunch
race,
of pets.
a bunch of pets that you need. I mean, vampires need us for blood.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to kill us all. Unless, of course, Dracula's on a very roundabout suicide attempt.
Which he is.
Which he in fact is. And I love the vampires that we see throughout this, like Godbrand. Godbrand especially.
Is so good.
He would make such a compelling. He's like one of those vampires, like in Twilight, that are really fun if the story's centered on them more.
I kind of felt like he was a werewolf almost with how he acted.
Yeah, but he's just like a Viking.
Yeah,
like he's like, hey, I need blood, and then he brings him a pig. That pig blood gives me the shits. And then there's, of course, Camilla.
Yeah, Camilla.
Oh, yeah, we got to have her. Have to have Camilla. Apparently, she has sisters. We'll get to them later.
We don't know about that in season 2. But
she's also, like, she's not, she's right up, she sees herself almost as Dracula's equal, and she's starting to work against him.
She has a long history of men trying to say she's less than them.
Yeah.
And Dracula's just the next one in the line.
Yeah. And I don't know if I could take that for however long she's been alive.
Yeah.
Well, alive and then undead, I guess. But presumably they were all sired by Dracula at some point, except for, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't really get into that.
They don't really get into how vampires are made.
We do know that Camilla came from some other guy that she killed.
Okay.
But everybody else we don't really know.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, apparently this thing that's happening in Wallachia is happening just about everywhere. Mm-hmm. But let's not. Right now, we just need to make sure Wallachia is taken out.
Right.
Mostly because Trevor and Aisha and Alucard are here at this point.
Although I don't think they actually know that.
I think Dracula's somewhat aware of Alucard at some point.
So he knows Alucard's still alive because they fought like right after the burning of the stake. He tried to stop Dracula immediately.
Yeah,
that's why he's sleeping underneath the town for a year.
That's right. He had that big. Oh, it's that politically divided household thing where the mom is on one side and the dad is on the other.
Yep.
And the son's trying to just like, Dad, you need to expand your media horizons.
Quit watching Fox News. Okay.
Yeah, that's basically what it's. Yeah, it's really what Dad. Mom is a lot better than you, and it should have been you burning at the stake. And yeah, I mean, we all deal with this in our own way. He sleeps in a coffin.
They do know that the Belmonts have been wiped out, but nobody ever found their secret hold of knowledge.
That's true. I forgot about that. Everyone has a little secret hold.
Yeah. So Camilla kind of brings that up because she wants them to warp to this town on the coast.
I forgot about that. Like a little interplay of like, okay, so how best do we destroy humanity this week on Power Rangers?
Right. So there's really not much of a plan, but Camilla kind of wants a plan, you know?
Yeah, like maybe we should do something. I mean, this would actually have strategic.
If we actually go to this port town, we can cut off the humans' escape, and then we can kill all of them, right?
Yeah. And like I like that she's like coming up with rationalizations for why this is strategic, but she also has there's also something here that I want.
Yes.
Which is really cool. And she's also trying to get someone who has Dracula's ear to back her on this. And she has that in Hector.
Right.
Who she has wrapped around her thumb.
Because she explains to Hector, you know, he's gone kind of crazy. He really just wants to kill all the humans.
I mean, he doesn't. We all know that he's good at heart. He doesn't really mean it when he says that.
Right.
We just need to remind him and kind of rein him in a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still going to accomplish his vision.
Exactly.
Going to make sure it's the good vision and not the paranoid vision he sometimes spouts off on Twitter. Anyway, yeah. So Isaac is really he's cottoning on to something going on.
Right.
Throughout all this. And, of course, Godbrand meets with an unfortunate end.
I mean, Godbrand basically tells him what's going on there.
Because I love that he's not really the brightest bull, but he immediately cottons on to the problem and the stated goal of Dracula. Like, hey, if all the blood is gone, what am I going to eat? I like to eat. Godbrand!
he just keeps saying
He keeps saying his name. I can't remember how he dies. I just remember he gets knocked out of the game pretty early.
He ends up telling Isaac that Hector and Camilla are working together. And, we're going to do the thing Dracula wants, but we're going to keep some humans alive.
Yeah.
And Isaac's like, well, that's treason. And he says, it's only treason if Dracula doesn't go along with it.
Yeah.
And then Isaac says, that's treason. And he kills him,
Yeah. Oh, I forgot he does it.
Yeah.
I love...
He wraps him with a scourge. And
oh, that was so good. I can't believe I forgot about that. I love Isaac so much.
And then he gives him like a good burial, He turns to dust as vampires do when you kill him.
Apparently, yeah.
And he puts him in a cloak and takes him up on the cliff and just releases his ashes.
Godbrand gets the best departure.
Yeah.
Truly, he was Godbrand.
But he doesn't tell anybody this happened.
No.
Not a soul. Everybody's like, yeah, I haven't seen Godbrand for a while.
Yeah, ain't that a thing?
And that's super weird because Godbrand's loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, he's usually... You can usually figure out where he is by the tenor of his Godbrand utterings. But, yeah, that was... I know Alucard and Party are having their own adventures, but honestly, I get really wrapped up in Hector and Isaac and how they just kind of adapt to this. We learn more about why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the whole story. The Alucard, Sypha, and Trevor, they decide they're going to go to the Belmont Hold.
Yeah, to get more knowledge.
Because they need more weapons or knowledge. They don't have a way to kill Dracula or even to stop his castle.
Yeah, because he has a moving castle. He has Howl's Dracula's moving castle.
Yeah. So they take off to the old Belmont home because Trevor remembers seeing the hold.
Yes.
But he doesn't remember how to get in there.
Yeah, and even Alucard's like, well, you pussy. And then like, oh, it's just not going to work, is it?
Oh, there is the magical door here. We can't get in.
Oh, okay.
But it's a good thing Sypha is a magician and can read the scripts on it.
Yeah, she has all that seer knowledge, so she puts it together. And turns out the Belmonts probably had the biggest repository of knowledge, period.
Yes.
Apart from maybe the Vatican. Or one of the Persian palaces that weren't destroyed by the Mongols. Yeah, there's a lot of books here, and they're like, okay, so which of these is relevant?
Yes.
Trevor doesn't really matter. What matters most to Trevor is that there's a really cool whip in a box.
Yes, the Morning Star.
Yeah, and Sypha finds some kind of device that she can use to find Dracula's castle.
Yeah, they find a mirror, one of those mirrors. Some mirrors can teleport things, but this mirror can only see things.
Yeah. And I can't remember what Alucard is up to, but
so they end up... They also find a magical book that tells them how to control where the castle can teleport.
Yes.
It isn't quite finished, so Sypha has to finish the incantation.
And that's when the night beasts and the vampire army attacks.
Right. Camilla has convinced them they need to attack the Belmont house.
Yeah, she's intercepting Dracula's orders.
Right.
Yeah.
So Hector just built his own little strike force of night beasts to go over there.
Yeah. So there's that holding action, the cool action scene with Alucard and Trevor while Aisha finishes trying to override Dracula's castle and bring it somewhere where they can attack it.
Right. And Trevor basically single-handedly kills the entire strike force.
Yeah.
There's the giant like bull thing. There's like a magical one that has a staff that's doing stuff, and there's a fire-breathing one.
Yeah. I love the imagine. It's really for the best that Castlevania doesn't really dwell. The series doesn't really dwell too much on the games. It just kind of uses them for inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, why is the 1950s Prince Imhotep attacking us here? Well, it's not. Don't worry about it. It's just a demon taking that form.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Trevor fights them all off on his own. Alucard's the only one that can use the mirror, so he's actually finding the castle.
Yeah.
Which has teleported to that port town because, although Isaac knew Hector and Camilla were working together to try to get there, he kind of comes up with the plan that all the rest of the vampires, they're not really unified.
Yeah.
But if we give Camilla this win, they'll all unify behind her, and we'll just have to deal with her. It'll just be one vampire.
Yeah, it's
not
true.
all these other ones. So he tells Dracula the plan. He agrees. They all warp to the coast town.
Mm-hmm.
So while they're at the coast town, they're going to take it over, right? So they send out all the armies to take over the town. But that's not really Camilla's plan.
Yeah.
Camilla takes the bishop.
That's right. She possesses a bishop,
Yeah.
but he doesn't become like a demon. He's like himself.
Yeah.
He's in fact so much himself that he's still capable of blessing
Since he
water.
was such a bad guy, his soul went to hell, right?
Okay, that makes sense. I am
So-
willing to buy him just getting his own soul
So
back
Hector
in his
put
body.
his own soul back in his body. And they take him, and he blesses the entire river right through there.
I guess God is just a real stickler for law.
Yeah, he's a priest.
I can't deny that he is legally entitled to create holy water. I am constitutionally bound on this.
Even though it will destroy him as he's floating above it.
Look, I'm a god bound by rules, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of that in the Bible. Like, rules lawyering is very, very, like, where do you think attorneys came from? It goes all the way back to the Torah. But yeah, that was so cool when, like, the vampires trying.
The Dracula armies are marching across a bridge.
And
Camilla destroys the bridge.
and they fall into
in.
holy water. And that was a really good power play. I love it.
The general vampires are good enough, though, they can get away.
Yeah.
They head back to the castle.
And Camilla begins her coup.
And her bridges that she shoots across the
Yeah.
river, that was pretty cool.
Like, she's got a really good plan.
Yeah.
In fact, it might have worked. We don't get to see the showdown between her versus Dracula, Isaac, and the loyalist vampires because Alucard, Sypha, and Trevor succeed
Yes.
in getting the location and teleporting in, and I love the scene is beautiful in every way because there's a vampire war going on, and they like march in. It's like the Western where you kick in the doors to a saloon and everyone stops and looks at the door as Dracula's son, the last of the Belmonts, and the magic girl show up, and Bloody Tears starts playing in the background.
Yeah.
Oh god, that everyone knows that song.
It was such a good.
So
perfect.
Oh god, like all the vampires immediately attack, and it's just that extended fight scene.
Alucard turns into a wolf for a little while.
Yes, it's so good. It's so good, and all the characters have their own little things to do. Like, Aisha winds up fighting that guy in a turban with two scimitars.
Yes, that was so cool.
And he's even cool. Like, she throws like the ice sheet. He starts marching on top of it, and then she flips it,
Cuts him in half.
and then there's that Japanese vampire, which will become very important later. She turns into mist. Aisha says no. She freezes the mist particles and maybe kills her. I don't know.
I have a feeling. My theory is she got away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how, but it seems like she would have. But yeah, everyone gets their hits in this. Like, there's always it's just an extended, beautifully rendered adolescent dream of Vampire Massacre. And then you get the extended fight with Dracula.
Yeah, we should note that Dracula was with Isaac, and they were like retreating up the tower against Camilla's forces.
That's true.
And they defeat all of those forces, but they know Trevor and Alucard and Sypha are coming up.
Yeah, and Isaac is ready to die.
Yeah, he's guarding the door.
Yeah.
And Dracula says no. He has his portal mirror here. He throws him through.
Yeah, to some undescript desert.
Yeah, it looks kind of like where he came from. It could be around there. You don't really know.
Dracula's to his credit, Dracula is not racist.
No.
But he does look at Isaac like, you belong in a desert. That's home to you, right? You people. He's trying. Dracula's trying. Admittedly, he's not doing a very good job. But yeah, the Dracula fight is really, really fun to watch. Good. And you of course, he has multiple forms. Because every Dracula, you fight Dracula a lot in the games. He keeps coming back, and he always has multiple forms. Some of them are nonsensical. But at the end of the day, it's Alucard versus Dad in his childhood bedroom.
Yeah. That's really what ended it all.
Yeah, when Dracula finally came out of his stupor.
He loses he gained some sanity back, saying, "What am I doing, trying to kill my son?"
Yeah, like the last part of that woman that started all this.
Yeah.
And it helps that Alucard has his mom's hair
Yes.
and her morals and all that. But then Alucard finally kills Dracula.
Yeah. He finally says, "This is just an elaborate suicide."
Yeah, it was an elaborate suicide anyway. I do like that Alucard calls him out on
Yeah.
that. Like, you're killing everyone so you can finally starve to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is funny that Dracula does like own up to that. Like he's gonna starve out all the vampires as well.
Yeah, like it's just gonna be peace. And season 2 kind of like it just kind of ends like that. Aisha is like her robes have been cut down. She's more athletically adorned now.
Yeah, the last episode of season 2 is like a like ending. You know,
It really feels like an ending. Yeah.
and then they send you out and give you like the start of the next story. So they show you that Alucard's going to take over the castle.
And he also has access to the Belmont Library,
Yeah,
which is
and
where
Trevor gives him the task of guarding the Belmont.
yeah, like look at us, couple of cards. Meanwhile, Aisha is not willing to go back to her people because she's having a lot of fun.
Yeah, she teams up with Trevor. Says they're going to go tell him what happened. You know, because it's
Yeah.
a great story. They should know. about it.
Honestly, I'm really having a good time. I don't want this to end.
Yeah, but they're going to keep going, killing monsters. Like, there's more Night Beast to round up. It's not
Like,
over
it's
yet.
clear that Trevor and Aisha have feelings for each other at this point, and they're in a relationship, but Aisha is 100% behind just monster killing in
Yeah.
general.
She was like, "This was awesome."
Dude, don't mince words. That was fun. And
Isaac, you know, they show him at the end of season 2. He's out at Oasis.
yeah,
in the middle
he
of the
finds
desert.
an oasis.
These jerks come along and try to.
The professional jerks
Yeah.
that just always happen along at this point in the story.
They give him a hard time, try to make him leave, and he's like, "No, I'm too badass."
I think they said they were going to enslave him,
Yeah, they did,
which is a trigger word for a former slave. Who knew?
and so he just kills all of them.
And-
Starts making a Night Beast.
And
army.
then he thinks about it for a second, like, hey, I've still got this dagger, and I still know how to make demons. I'm going to avenge Dracula.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my revenge on
He
Camilla.
had a really good idea, so let's make an army.
I know Camilla betrayed Dracula,
Mhm.
and I hate traitors.
And he knows Hector's in on it too. He's really pissed
Yo,
about it.
he is beyond pissed. By the way, Hector, and he finds out way too late that he was led astray,
Yeah.
and he's in Camilla's thrall. So, but Isaac doesn't really know that. He just knows there was betrayal and there will be payback.
Mhm.
And of course, the first night creature he makes is really pathetic. I don't know if he just did that intentionally, but the guy who was the leader of that bandit band.
Oh yeah, he still was leading him behind on foot as
Yeah.
punishment.
Yeah. I don't know if he has brought his own soul back from hell.
Yeah, he might have.
Like, imagine you're like, you wind up in hell, and 5 seconds later you get called back to do zombie duty. Like, I don't know if he, yeah. But yeah, that's the start of Isaac's grand adventure. And honestly, a lot of season 3 does seem to be just Isaac's grand
It
adventure.
is. Yeah. So after season 2, you like warp ahead a few months.
Yeah.
Alucard's, you know, he's still mourning his mom.
Yeah.
He's mourning his dad as well. He's super sad.
He's actually kind of lonely.
He still hasn't cleaned up the castle, and it's a mess. You know.
Yeah, and he's like having dinner at a table, and he's talking to Trevor and Aisha because they're his only friends.
Yeah. He made dolls of them and sits
Yeah,
them at the
and he's
table.
just talking to them and insulting them and pretending they're talking back
yeah
to him.
the normal banter they have.
Look, I need my dynamic, and I don't have that right now. Man, it's been like what, a few months, and I've already gone crazy.
Yep.
He gets some company though. It's weird.
He gets ambushed. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a good way to get company, I guess.
A male and a female come. He kind of notices they're there before they really attack and
Yeah,
counter strikes,
and it turns out they are both Japanese vampire hunters.
or so they say.
Yeah, and they are. I don't know if they're brother and sister or just like treat each
I
other
think
like.
they are brother and sister. They treat each other like they are if they aren't.
Like if it might be a camaraderie thing, like brothers and sisters in arms, but there's definitely a real deep connection there.
Yeah.
And
They say they were underneath the power of that Oriental
yeah,
vampire that could have gotten away.
yeah, we don't know her fate specifically, but they were there hunting her down because
They They did.
They
I don't
want-
remember exactly
like-
why came. They wanted knowledge to be able to hunt more vampires.
Yeah, because-
they said she never came back.
And they managed to overwhelm the local vampire guard because she left and never came back.
Right.
So that gave them their out.
Right.
And that's what they sought out Dracula's castle or whatever for.
Mhm.
And they're really interested in specifically Dracula's castle. Something about it.
Yeah. They know there's some knowledge there. Or something.
And they know Alucard's got something going on. They know he's a vampire. They know he's something more. They're willing to, learn from him for a while.
Mhm.
They get a little insistent later on.
So he, Alucard wants more vampire hunters. There's still vampires out
Yeah,
there.
and honestly, he needs friends. He's pretty
More than
desperate
anything,
for
he
friend
needs
requests on Facebook right now.
So he agrees to train them, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Trevor and Aisha are kind of just getting they're getting along about as well as two very familiar people can.
Yeah.
Like they're sniping at each other, but you could tell they're getting along pretty fine.
I mean, they've clearly fallen in love.
Yeah.
They're sleeping together now.
Yeah, that's not even implied.
Yeah.
That's this is the part where, being raised Catholic, it triggers your alarm when you're seeing this because the world has changed quite a bit. Netflix has changed. This is a video game story, and it's not shy about a lot of things. It's like Witcher. Like, some kid got this at the age of 10.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have handled that.
No.
But yeah, they are sleeping together, and mostly though, Aisha still is just really in love, not just with Trevor, but the idea of being a monster hunter.
Yeah, more than anything.
Like they kill a werewolf, and she's just stoked.
Oh yeah,
Dude, we just killed a werewolf. What did you do yesterday? Let's drag this thing to the nearest town and show it off. Like they might pay us, but they'll know we killed a werewolf.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I hit a werewolf with my truck,
I would carry it behind.
I would
the
drag it to
Yeah.
the nearest bar, check it,
truck. Strap it to the hood as we get in there.
like get some good venison or something. I don't know. I'll take it to a taxidermist tomorrow, but right now we're doing
it out,
shots. Look at this. Check it.
Who wants a tooth, right?
Yeah,
You
I
wanna
mean, come
decide
on,
that?
you can do it. It's on me. Yeah, you invent like a story, like a hunter who comes back disappointed, and like he shoots a carcass he finds on the side of the road. Yeah, it was charging right at me, but anyway, this town's not under siege by night beasts.
No, it has been attacked by night beasts before.
Yes. In fact, you're seeing the aftermath of this war against humanity,
Mhm.
and there's this really cool guy called the Judge.
Was that his name, the judge?
I think you
don't
just call him the
remember
Judge.
what it
I don't know. I just knew him as
was. He
the
was
Judge.
in charge of the town. That's all I
Yeah.
remember.
And he's like, yeah, don't go to that church. Ever since Dracula showed up and died, their faith has gone a little wonky.
Yeah, they're kind of worshiping Satan now.
Yeah, it's like all those communists in the '60s who became fervent acolytes of Bush II and supported the Iraq War. It's kind of weird how that happens every now and again, but you have the God you worship or the ideal you worship, and then that ideal or that God fails you in some way, and maybe the exact opposite wasn't
Maybe
true.
what made that fail is the real power. that we
Yeah,
can
maybe. I don't know. Like there can't be any spectrum here. So yeah, it's like, and I love how just chill everyone is with this. Like occasionally this church leader will come out obviously evil and speak cryptically.
And they know there was this giant night beast.
Yeah, there was a giant night beast in there.
It jumped into the church.
We
but
never saw it leave.
It never came out.
And then they're like, we killed it.
Of course.
It's gone. Okay. Hail Dracula. Oh, you guys. There is one guy who wants in this church pretty bad.
There
though.
is.
Really cool guy.
He's got some magic tricks of his own.
Yeah, I mean, Aisha can really dig that.
Yeah.
Like a fellow practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really charismatic. Let's just get around it. He's pretty. I don't remember his name. I just know him as the cool guy.
It started with M. I can't remember all of it.
Yeah, I can't remember it either. But he wants in this church because I can't even remember what his goal is.
He is looking for an entrance to this like multi-dimensional space.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
He lost a loved one in there because he's been in the space before.
That's right.
And he has a stone that will lead him to a portal.
Yes, and it's leading him there.
And it's leading him to the church.
So he's
right?
trying to find an excuse to be in there, and then
Yeah.
he's like saying, maybe there's a book in there that will lend credence to your new Dracula-based religion.
Yeah, because the priests there have just thrown all the books in there.
Yeah, they don't care.
Books are worthless.
They,
right?
they have received enlightenment from the source.
The source, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Trevor and Aisha, I can't even remember what their whole deal is. This guy hang around town.
They were just going through town, and then they're like, "This is not right."
Yeah, something's wrong in this town. The judge agrees.
The leader guy's like, "Can you guys check this out? Because this is not right."
Yeah, something's weird. Something weird's going on. And oh, by the way, you kid, go to that apple tree.
Oh, I forgot all.
Visit
about
the
that.
apple tree.
Yeah, yeah.
You, apple tree.
I'm sick of kids running around town.
God.
I'm gonna let you off.
I'll let you off the hook.
Apple tree.
Go to visit an apple tree. I'll be merciful.
That'll be important later.
The law is merciful. He's very. I like the archetype that he's a relatively cool guy, just a stickler for the rules,
Yeah.
trying to hold everything together after a apocalyptic war
Right.
that only a Wallachia saw. I mean, why do you think Belarus and all of them are so weird? Well, it's obvious they've just come. Dracula has just gone through them.
Right.
I mean, we can't know that here in the West. We don't have that kind of perspective. That's why you have like the judge doing what he does to protect his people.
Yeah. So Sypha, when they're investigating the church, they're just walking around, but she realizes it stinks of magic.
Yeah. There's a lot of magic stuff going on here, and I'm not talking like the communion, turning the body and the bread into the body, blood into wine, wine into blood. Transubstantiation is not happening here.
No.
Because and I'm not just saying that because it's not healthy and COVID. We need to self-isolate and not give out communion wafers right now. It's just not happening. They're not doing that.
Don't believe that anymore.
It's just not like they don't even care. All that communion wafers, those delicious communion wafers, just go rotten in there. It's sad.
So they end up teaming up with the other magician.
That guy, the cool guy,
Yeah.
Merlin. He's not Merlin.
No, it's like
I want to call him Merlin.
Mons. I don't know. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, he's like this weird charismatic guy, and yeah, he manages to find
The portal.
this entrance to a dungeon.
Because they give him access because he's reading the books, and then he sneaks down into the dungeon.
Yeah, and they keep catching him, and he keeps talking his way out of it because he's just that cool.
But eventually he does get down there when nobody else is there.
Yeah.
He sees the big night beast.
And there is a night beast crucified
Right.
down there, bleeding, and just giving spiritual guidance to these monks, these insane monks. And he, of course, brings in Aisha and Trevor to help them with this situation. The judge brings his militia. And unfortunately, the militia is a little too late because by the time they get there, there's green light emanating from this church.
Yeah, the priests have been making runes on structures around the town.
Yeah, that's what they've been investigating. I forgot.
And this night they start activating.
Yeah.
Stuff starts lighting on fire. Beams of fire to the skies.
People are dying and it's fueling something.
Yeah. And so it's like a full-on assault on the church.
Yeah. And Trevor, Aisha, and their friend are down at the epicenter trying to deal with this whole night beast situation as the portal is opening to resurrect Dracula.
Yes.
And meanwhile, the judge and his militia are just trying to like hold things together up top. And eventually, there's just that cool action scene with Aisha and Trevor just holding their own against whatever's coming out of the portal and the night beast.
That shield she put around the other guy was real cool too.
Yeah,
The ice shield.
I forgot about that. Meanwhile, their dimension hopping friend, like I'm gonna go into the portal and seal it off.
Yeah.
And you get a look in the portal and you see a bunch of other worlds, one of which may or may not be Metal Gear.
Was it? I didn't
There was a
notice
mech.
that.
There was a mech. So I'm assuming it's just a Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
Like you can conceivably have like a Metal Gear Solid series after this, with that guy just like falling in front of Raiden or something.
They do flash by Dracula as well, and he's with Lisa, his
Yeah.
wife.
So apparently God did in fact send her to hell for studying
or maybe
science.
she sent Dracula to heaven. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Like, or maybe she like turned her back on Saint Peter.
Oh, it could be.
Or she or it's like All Dogs Go to Heaven, where she unwound her clock and then killed herself to go to hell. She does have balls, this woman. We have established that very early on. She could have done that. Anyway, we don't Dracula sees the portal, kind of reaches for it, but then it gets shut because that guy is like, he gets what he wants. Like, hey, I'll see you guys later. I've got to seal this portal, and the portal gets sealed. And they go up top, and the judge has just been impaled by the head priest.
Right. I forgot he got killed too. But he says...
And then he's like, I forgive you, man. Look, at the end of the day, we're still neighbors. Go to the apple tree.
Yeah. You can get away. I got a place out by the apple tree. Just go out there.
And then he looks up and tells Aisha, look, I'm glad you and I have worked together all season. Like, we've done some good things.
Yeah.
Burn my house down.
Please.
Burn my house down. Leave nothing standing. Also, don't worry about that priest. I killed him. So they go to investigate where the priest ran off to, and there is a pit trap with a bunch of children's skeletons.
Yep.
I don't know what. I know ultimately the series is kind of trying to draw who's the real monster here? Like, is a vampire really a monster, or is it just the free will leading you to do these things?
Yeah, they do keep showing that humanity has monstrous people in it.
Yeah, and you see a lot more of that with Isaac in his grand adventure, because he is struggling. Like, he doesn't have Dracula to give him validation anymore, so he's just trying to
He's trying to fulfill Dracula's vision, but also get vengeance on the people who betrayed him.
And he's also kind of learning. He's kind of developing his own perspective on life as he meets people. Like, he goes to see that one merchant, like the guy who has Aladdin's lamp or something.
Yeah, he had the mirror so he could find Hector. That's
And this guy gives this relic to him for nothing. Like, hey, maybe when I die, you get my soul out of hell. How about that? Let's just call it even.
Just give me a solid in hell. Get me out of the torture stuff.
And he's laughing. He might be serious about it, but he might just be joking.
Yeah.
But Isaac takes it deadly serious. Like, yes, when you die, I will in fact take your soul out of hell and put it in a body.
Yep.
And then, of course, the town guard, which will becoming a recurring theme of Isaac's grand adventure. Dude, you've got a zombie demon army in our town.
They may not be killing anybody yet.
I would like you to leave. And these misunderstandings keep happening.
Yeah, and Isaac's like, I don't need to leave, guys. Just let me go on my way.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
No, we can't have a monster parade. You got a werewolf, a mummy, a bug man. No,
and this demonic horse you're riding.
This is you're just the demonic horse is cool, but it's gonna drive down property values. So much. I can't believe you liberals like these people. Look how intolerant these Muslims are. They won't let monsters parade down their streets. So he massacres his way through several towns this way, including Genoa.
Yeah, because he eventually needs a ship.
He finds the ship at that town, and he meets the coolest character in the whole season. The weird pirate smuggler guy.
He's like a Jamaican guy.
He's like I have expected him to be like a Rastafarian centuries before.
Yeah,
but he's just like oh man, I'm so bored. Rum smuggling, spice smuggling. It's just not
the same old.
It's just not doing it for me. And then he sees a parade of monsters coming his way.
That's
Dude,
what I want.
I don't care how dangerous it is. Let them on the ship. Isaac tries to kill him several times, and he keeps talking it. Dude, I'm not afraid of you. Just let me take.
Just let me.
Dude,
take the ship.
Just let me take you.
You don't know how to sail anyway. Just let my crew do
Dude,
it.
dude, your monsters don't know how to pitch a mast. Just let us do it. You pay me what you've looted from the town. We'll call it even.
Yeah.
And Isaac's misfiring. You're treating me reasonably.
I mean, I want to kill you because I hate humans. But
but at the same time,
you're kind of a cool guy.
Yeah, I guess I could talk. He gives them the ship's cabin, and they drink fine wine and just talk philosophy.
Yes.
And it's the captain who first tells him, that guy who gave you that one relic, that might have just been him being a decent guy to you.
Yeah.
Like when he asked you to take his soul out of hell, he probably didn't think you were actually going to do it. He was just having a laugh. And Isaac's like having like, wow.
Maybe we shouldn't kill everybody.
Maybe I don't need to kill everyone. Maybe I can just like develop my own.
Maybe I should just rule everyone, and then I can kill all the bad people.
I mean, maybe I don't know. You're blowing my mind here, man. And to Isaac's credit, he doesn't kill the captain after they get there.
Yeah, he lets him go.
He leaves. And, of course, right after the ship leaves, the Genoan guards show up and like, okay, you need to get back on your ship. My ship left. Well, okay, that's not my problem. You need to leave. This army of monsters cannot be in Genoa right now.
He says, well, I'm fine with leaving, but you got to let me through.
And then, like, Isaac is like, you got to make me do this. So his demon army keeps growing as he makes more corpses for himself. Carves a bloody path through Genoa.
He figures out he needs an army to assail
Camilla.
Straya or whatever that place is.
Oh yeah, he has figured out where Camilla's hanging out.
He's figured out they're at her castle.
Because meanwhile, while all this is happening, Hector is having a much less fun
He's
adventure.
having a bad time.
He's being led through the frozen north.
Yeah, they walked from the coast all the way to the frozen north,
the
on
mountains,
foot because their horses were killed in battles along the way.
Yeah, like apparently when Dracula's army collapsed and all the vampire lords of that area died, there was a power vacuum, and regular humans were also just rampaging, and even to the point where even vampire armies were having trouble containing them. Like, you can't kill vampires, you can kill their horses and really mess with them.
To be fair, it was a small army. Most of them got killed inside Dracula's castle.
So the battered remains of Camilla's forces make it back home, and she has sisters.
3 of them.
3 of them, yeah. They're all really cool. They've got, like, 2 of them in a very committed relationship.
Yes.
It's actually really heartwarming. Like, it's a big woman, warrior-esque.
Yeah, she's like the general leader of the armies.
The other is like the really cool administrator. She Camilla's the dreamer, but she's the one who puts all the logistics in, and she really and she likes the direct action woman. And then they've got the little sister who just doesn't really say much.
She's like the negotiator.
Like the diplomat. She's the
ambassador,
kind one. She's the kind one. Yeah. Look, if you want to be like locked up in a dungeon, you want her hanging out, and that's of course what happens with Hector. Like, okay, you go hang out with Hector, see if you can get him to build us a night demon army.
They figured out that they need an army because they want to take their own little section of land.
Yeah, and just
get a good stock of humans as live as cattle out there. You know,
it'll be like a legitimate empire that they can rule over, and it's just perfect renewable resource of breeding humans. Yeah, and of course, Hector's not going along with this because he's got guilt.
And she just drug him by a collar all the way across.
I would be cross. I would be cross. I would not. I'm a very forgiving person. I would be cross. Fortunately, she's like working on him, like the kind vampire. Like, yeah, I know my sister. She comes off a little strong. Yeah, she betrayed Dracula. Yeah, she probably did, but honestly, you did too. And
frankly, it was the right thing to do.
And I mean. He did look, you don't want to kill all of humanity. No. You just want to reduce them to a manageable population that would be harvested. That's what we want. I don't know why you're being so angry about this. I mean, we agree. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give you some food. I'm going to give you some grapes.
I'm even going to give you some books so you can read and not so bored.
I might even give you some clothes. And he tries to do that thing where he like grabs her by the neck. Yeah. I'll give him props. Hector does take some initiative and try to kill her by snapping her neck. But then he remembers she's a vampire. She turns into mist and escapes. So, yeah, he lets himself be seduced by the luxury and her kindness.
It was really the long walks in the midnight.
The moonlit walks where she's just laying on the charm, full force, and she's like, you know what? Maybe we don't even need to be here, man. Why don't we? You and me, you and me.
We can just go off together.
We can just go off, and like remember that thing we did last night? We can do that a lot. Yeah. Speaking of that thing we did last night, put this ring. Just pledge yourself to me.
What was great was like, that ring, I don't remember that. And she's like, well, all of us have one. I've always been warned.
Yeah, I mean, it's we take it off to shower. That's probably why you didn't notice.
Yeah.
And of course, immediately after he puts the ring on, she binds him magically to all of her sisters.
Yes.
Now you have to make demon armies for us. Like, women.
He would have done it anyway because he was in love with her, but now
Yeah.
he has to do
Now
it.
he has to do it, not just because she wants it, because any one of them wants it.
Right.
And I love the vampire council where she walks in with him at the leash and throws them all rings. Order him to do whatever you want.
Yep.
And then Camilla is like, dude, what the fuck? Like, yeah, if he says no, there will be pain in every atom of his body.
Yep.
And they're like, Jesus Christ.
We thought you were the nice one.
Yeah, you were the. You were giving me shit. I at least.
And that's kind of how we're left off with them.
With Hector, he's just like, yeah, I guess this is my life now.
Isaac still had a little bit of story left. He
Yeah.
was, I guess it was another vampire?
I think it was just another like.
It was some immortal being.
I think it was like a woman, an old woman who does who has what he can do.
Yeah,
She can make
that's what it
she can
was.
make night demons. And she says that some magician or wizard has enthralled the population of an entire town. So if you want corpses,
That's the
There's-
place to make an army.
they're already dead, dude.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. They're like freshly preserved corpses, perfect hosts for demons. There's no moral quandaries.
No.
It's free corpses, man.
Free real estate.
Free real estate. It's free real estate. You just have to kill the wizard. And honestly, I hate that guy because they were my neighbors. So, and you gotta forge your own like path, man. And he also has a really interesting discussion with one of the demons that actually has like some semblance of sentience.
Oh, I forgot about
The
that.
bug man
Yeah.
of all people. Like you, the one who can speak well, come by the fire and let's have a chat about philosophy. Like, yes, I was a Greek philosopher in the pre-Christian era, and then when the Roman Empire turned Christian, the authorities came to me and they arrested me and they tortured me, and I turned in all my friends. So when I went to heaven, I was counted as a traitor for turning
she
in.
got sent to hell for turning in.
So I didn't martyr myself for my pagan beliefs. So the Christian God killed me and sent me to hell. And then he says something really cool, like, I knew sin when I was alive. All people did. But when I went to hell, I learned to like it.
Yeah,
Which is actually really horrifying.
it was. So his whole goal is just to like get revenge on.
Yeah, just everyone. He's just having a blast as a fly man. Like he actually thanks Hector for giving him another chance to work on Earth. And then he has the cool battle with the ant colony of walking sentient corpses.
That was insane. The flying ball of corpses
Like
that were.
it escalates. At first, he's just like they're just workers. They're like he's just like this wizard is playing a real time strategy game. Like
Yeah.
I need a bank, I need a barracks.
Got to build up that economy.
I need
so
that
I can get more
stable.
soldiers.
Yeah, I'm going with a 2 racks build for this. But then Isaac and his monster army starts rampaging.
Yeah, they
So-
start making new Night Beast on the fly. Going
Yeah,
through
and
town.
it looks like it's going really well for him. But then a few armed corpses start showing up, and then they start organizing, and then all of the ant people are doing things that only a hive mind can,
Right.
and then it turns into a giant that giant ball of writhing flesh, and
He realizes the only way to stop this is to go straight to the head of it.
yeah, and he makes one giant demon to fight the giant ball to give him time.
I forgot.
And he manages to make it all the way to the head wizard. And it looks like he's going to be mind controlled for just half a second.
Yeah.
And then he manages to kill him.
He was too strong, broke through it.
Yeah. And I think that's where Isaac's story kind of just peters out. Like
Yeah, that's the end of season 3 for him.
he's got a huge army. Meanwhile, he's still coming for Hector and Camilla to get vengeance. And still figure himself out how he wants to hang out and how he wants to carry Dracula's torch forward. Dracula's still in hell, presumably okay because he's got his wife back.
Alucard, we didn't explain.
Oh,
the
I
ending for
forgot
him.
about yeah. Now we get to know the Japanese twins quite a bit, pretty well,
Yeah.
and Alucard really likes them.
So much so.
But they really, really want to know how Dracula's castle teleports.
Yes.
Alucard says he doesn't know.
No.
He's not a mechanic.
And it's broken. Like Cypher
we
tore the shit.
we
out of that when
really
she
messed this.
teleported.
We tried. We didn't gear shift this thing
No.
correctly. And they don't believe him. They think he's just being an evasive douche. So they happen upon the most. They have a very weird plan.
Their plan is to give him a reward, right? He's been all alone.
Yeah,
he's given him all
very lonely.
all the knowledge.
So he gets a threesome with the Japanese twins, brother and sister twins.
Yeah, it was weird. We're not going to say it wasn't weird.
I'm not gonna lie. I routinely monitor a Catholic, the local Catholic newsletter that comes out for the diocese, and usually they have like movie reviews. What's new on Netflix? I was so hopeful they would write one for this. I wanted to know. We caution adults to not let children see this due to incest, twin sex, threesomes. I need. Look, I've not been the best Catholic in the world, but I kind of want. I feel like I need to go to church and ask for a priest's guidance on this scene because I'm a little dumbfounded.
But anyway, mid threesome, they pull out some magical thorny vines.
It's messed up. It's
completely
messed up.
binds Alucard to the bed.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah,
At first you think it's just like some kinky thing.
Yeah, you think it's some, but no, they're gonna kill him.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how he does it.
He takes his magical sword because they
that's
made
right.
a point of that because
He can do that.
He didn't use a magical sword, but he could.
Yeah.
And so then he uses that to kill him while he's still attached to the bed.
Yeah,
and
and
he
he-
gets away
to free him,
eventually.
and then he like impales their heads outside as a warning. Like, guess this is me now.
So that's why I think the Asian vampire lived because I think they were really just assassins sent by her
I hadn't considered
to
that.
gather the knowledge.
That's quite possible. That Asian vampire was really cool.
Yeah.
It'd be waste to not see her again. I don't know when the next season's coming out.
I don't either, but it's an exciting place to end this season.
Yeah, honestly, like as far as video game adaptations go, like I really love. I've always loved just like I don't really care if you are faithful to the story of a NES era game.
Right.
When I love the Mario Brothers movie. I love it. I love it. Like when it's just like a dystopian hellhole with like and there's like dinosaurs that evolve separately because of a split dimension, and two plumbers just happen to be the heroes of the setting, and the fungus is literally a guy who devolved into fungus and became a sentient king of fungus. Like that was inventive. I'm okay with that. Trust the fungus. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm completely okay with just like letting this thing take me. Although I do have to be, I do have to pray on it a little bit to cleanse my soul, because this goes in weird places sometimes. But hell, that's the times we live in.
Yeah.
The world doesn't cater to me.
No.
So the market demands twincest, and who am I to argue?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's Castlevania. I do like Castlevania 4 is fun to play, so
Might have to check that out sometime.
it might be on the Switch. I don't know. I haven't checked. I've been reading mostly this. Like the COVID lockdown, you'd think you'd be playing more video games. We have, but I've also just been reading outside because it's actually springtime and I need fresh air.
Yes.
Except for allergies, which leads me to sniffles, which leads me to paranoia about COVID, and I'm back to anxiety. So
So if you guys like what you heard, subscribe to our channel, like the video or podcast if you're listening to that, and you can check out our partners at Rally Network,
Rally Networks.
rallynetwork.net,
.net.
and check out some of our partners. You might like some of them too.
I mean, hell, there's always so many options. Now I need to be told what to do, so now I'm happy that I have direction.
All right, see you guys.